convolutions of ethical dilemmas.
Well, then, in fact, if that's where you put your value.
Well,
if you put your value on removing the cancer.
What exactly is the surgeon attempting to do?
But look at what we've decided with radical mastectomies versus radiation. Maybe one is less invasive, and that maybe we could have thought of that 30 years ago, but maybe because male surgeons were doing it, they never cared.
I mean, when they started doing radical mastectomies, they didn't have that evidence.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not that the values are changed, maybe we're just getting more data that are changing our thoughts about things.
It's not totally values. I mean, there are the realities of the world affect how we think about things. But the values are always involved, and we're talking about something that's broader than just mastectomies. Let me give you an example of something that's a lot less loaded. A face injury. And you've got to decide, there's a trade-off. Intervening in order to do some reconstruction of some of the bones around the eyes entails a certain amount of risk for the eye. Now, you've got to decide how much you're prepared to risk in the interests of a cosmetic repair. Now, a young person having your face the right shape is not a trivial consideration. It's important. But certainly, eyesight is. Now, the person who has the broken face is participating actively in making the decision, but is young, inexperienced, scared, suffering. So the surgeon has a significant role in determining the direction of the thinking and the weighing of the balances. Well, that surgeon's own feelings about how important cosmetics are and how important sight in one eye is, his or her lifestyle, experience, going to determine the decision. And I doubt very much that there's a good randomized controlled trial showing which way it's going to turn out to be better. Nobody's ever studied that thing. Get a chance to study most of the things. There aren't data to support your decisions 90% of the time. When there are data, you've got to know how to use them. That's why the critical appraisal, but in the overwhelming majority of cases, there aren't.
In your experience teaching medical students, do you think that the MAC student is different from the others in more traditional schools?
Supposing somebody came in, a young woman, single parent with 2 children, and she had, say, renal problems. And they would say to another medical student, now, what are you going to do with her? And they'd reel off a battery of tests. And they would say to our student, what are you going to do? And they'd say, well, obviously her first thought's going to be for the children. So the first thing we've got to do is to decide who's going to look after her kids while she comes in. Now, that's a MAC student, you see. That's good. You don't get that in other medical schools. And I think that's worth, a lot of conventional medicine.
To give students a wider exposure to different points of view, the tutorial groups are formed and reformed every 12 weeks. At the end of the 12-week session, the students are evaluated on their performance before they go on to join a new mix of students in their next tutorial group.
And I feel like I'm losing 4 friends when I leave here. I'm concerned about keeping up friendships, and I don't know how many other groups are feeling that way, but I'm going to feel somewhat at a real loss after next week because I look forward to coming here. When I was sitting here thinking about what I thought about all of us when we first started working together and never anticipating feeling as close and comfortable with a set of people as different as we all are.
The feedback you're getting is not just facilitative in learning in the tutorial. Like you said, it's a supportive group in all areas. We give feedback on what's happening personally, on our personal interactions, and you tend to use the group to grow in a lot more areas than just academically.
Remember at the very beginning, we had all these incredible life-changing things that were happening to us, and we didn't talk about problems, we talked about our own personal life. And then we got very task-oriented and really got down to work. And I think that now we've really struck a nice balance. We're aware of where we are with each other. We're not afraid to discuss those things, but we're also very productive. And I think it's going to be difficult walking into a new group not having that support, because I'm going to be dealing with 4 or 5 strange people who don't have any idea, different people who aren't going to have any idea what my background is or where I'm coming from or why I'm saying the things I'm doing. And I think it'll be funny because, I can look at Donna and she raises her eyebrows at me and I know exactly what she means.
Well, I like to say this group has been a very good group, and I think I've learned a lot. And a number of things were very motivating. Many times as a tutor, you tend to say, well, I'm a facilitator, I'm just going to help leading, and I found in many ways that I was reading things for the tutorial and preparing a little bit myself for the tutorial, just to learn about or understand the things you were going to talk about.
In just over a decade, this intimate style of learning has produced over 1,000 graduates who have gone on and passed the national certification exams and entered the medical profession. It's still too early to say whether this unique blend of skills and professional compassion will become the wave of the future in medical training. But as a measure of success, already a number of schools across North America, including the prestigious Harvard Medical School, are now embarking on innovative programs patterned after the McMaster experience.
To me, one of the best testimonies to the success of our system is that the students seem to know such a lot. And heaven knows where they get it. We don't teach it them. They didn't know it before they got here. So the system, in a curious way, is working beyond our comprehension.